What's up everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making my first tier list video. In this tier list, I'm going to be ranking the legends from Apex Legends 1 through 14 and also put them in a tier list D through S. This took me a very long time, so I would appreciate if you'd subscribe, but most importantly, if you don't agree with this, then you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Let me know in the comments. Seriously, I want to hear your opinions and talk to some of you guys. To start this tier list off, in D tier at number 14, I'm going to have to put Wraith. No, I'm just kidding, it's Loba. This might come as a surprise to some of you, but probably not to the developers of Apex, who seem to think it's funny to make new characters really bad when they're released. Some of you might be getting Crypto and Revenant flashbacks. I personally think that Loba should be last because her abilities are very lackluster. Her passive ability allows her to see loot through walls, which can be good right when you land, or when you're looking for a certain hop-up. It's not a bad passive, but it's definitely not a top-tier passive ability. Her tactical gives her the ability to throw a bracelet and to teleport to a certain location. This seems like it would be very strong, but there are a couple major things that hold this back. The first of which being, when she throws it, it's extremely loud and very easy to spot, so enemies can easily pinpoint her location after she teleports. The other thing is the delay when using her bracelet. When she throws it out, she has to wait until the bracelet gets to where she wants to go, and when it lands, she has to put on the bracelet, which is a very long animation. Both of these being quite large drawbacks. One of the reasons why I love going into Lobas. Her ultimate, which should be powerful, really isn't. She has the ability to allow her and her teammates to select only 2 items within the vicinity of her Black Market's range. This got buffed in Season 6, reducing the cooldown, but it wasn't Loba's really main focus about her character anyways, but at that it wasn't even a big buff. This is okay for late game if you're in a pinch, but it alerts enemies that you are using it, which leaves you very vulnerable. On top of all that, she is extremely loud when she runs, probably from all that junk she's carrying around, if you know what I'm saying. The only other legend in D tier at number 13 is going to have to be the Daredevil / Adrenaline Junkie Octane. Octane has a history of being low on almost every tier list for as long as I can remember. The reason being the way he's supposed to be played will never benefit the team enough to be a top tier legend. I placed him above Loba on my tier list because of the buffs he has received recently. He gained a slight speed boost when using his tactical, and his jump pad got some small buffs as well during Season 5. Octane's passive ability allows him to passively heal 1 health every 2 seconds, which goes hand in hand with his tactical ability, the stim. His stimming ability is what makes Octane Octane. He gains a speed boost of 40% every time he uses his stim, which can be used every 2 seconds, but unfortunately he loses 10 health every time he uses it. Another staple of how Octane should be used is his jump pad. His jump pad is basically a small trampoline that launches you into the air. While in the air, you can double jump, making it hard for enemies to hit you. On paper, Octane seems to be very good, which he is, but only in solo situations. Apex being a teamwork game, it drops Octane's viability. Octane's speed boost and mobility is very good for himself, but there is no way for your teammates to keep up if you are constantly stimming towards and away from your enemies during a gunfight, leaving your entire team at a disadvantage. Not to mention the fact that it sounds like a train when he's running and stimming. Octane is extremely fun, but for those reasons I'm going to have to put him near the bottom at number 13. Being a Bangalore in the early stages of this game hurts me, but I'm going to try not to be biased, so I'm going to put her at number 12 as the lowest character in C tier. Bangalore being a character that devs care little about, got another indirect nerf in Season 6. Being that there are more places to take cover in the New World's Edge, Bangalore's abilities are very weak compared to the other legends. The thing Bangalore has going for her is her passive, allowing her to get a speed boost similar to Octane's while being shot at. This passive is arguably the best in the game, can be paired with her having the second smallest hitbox in the game, are the only things keeping her in the C tier of legends. Her tactical ability is her smoke launcher. She's able to shoot 2 smoke canisters that explode on impact. This tactical is very situational and can in some cases be destructive to your own teammates, blocking their vision. On top of the tactical being weak, her ultimate ability is absolutely terrible. She's able to drop an airstrike from the sky that is very easy for the enemies to escape and takes way too long to detonate. Even when it doesn't do very much damage. Although I love Bangalore, the cons heavily outweigh the pros. Her hitbox and passive are heavily outweighed by her situational smoke launcher and terrible ultimate ability. There are just too many better options to use than Bangalore, plus Bloodhound got nerfed. Plus Bloodhound got buffed through the roof, making her even weaker. Let me know in the comments if you think Bangalore should get a little more love. The second legend in the C tier category at number 11 is the charismatic trickster Mirage. Mirage is one of my favorite legends to play because of the bamboozles you can pull off and its hilarious clips. But unfortunately, he's going to be sitting near the bottom of the rankings. He was recently buffed in Season 5 to make it a little more difficult to distinguish him from his clones, but it wasn't quite enough. His passive allows him to go invisible when he is reviving or respawning a teammate, or when he gets knocked down. This is kind of a situational ability, because if an enemy sees a Mirage right before he goes invisible, it renders the ability quite useless. His tactical gives him the ability to send out a decoy that copies his every move, or if the user chooses, it'll run in a straight line until it hits an obstacle or a shot. His tactical could be a little better, but the decoy has no health, allowing a good opponent to kill the decoy and turn on you in a small amount of time. One of the best and most fun things to do with Mirage is his ultimate ability. His ultimate sends 5 other decoys in different directions that copy your exact move. This can be very confusing to an enemy, because if they shoot one of your decoys, everyone on your team will be alerted to where they are, and you can shoot back before they even know what's happening. The reason that Mirage is so much lower on the list is because he is very good against less experienced players, because they will fall for the tricks more often and they'll shoot the decoys. But against an experienced player, they can usually select you over the decoys, which rendering the ability is quite useless. I might get some hate for this one, but hear me out. In my opinion, the highest legend in C tier at number 10 is Watson. Watson is probably the single most situational legend in the game. If you're not bunkering down and defending the area, then Watson is kind of useless. Not to mention she is outclassed by Caustic and possibly Rampart at defending an area, which is basically her only use. Her passive ability allows her to carry 2 ultimate accelerants, and when she uses one, she gets her ultimate back instantly. This has to be part of her kit because they nerfed her generator to break after 90 seconds, first breaking only when destroyed. Her tactical ability is she can put electrical fences anywhere she wants, blocking doorways and passage areas. This is very good for holding down a building, but without a generator in the correct spot, a Caustic can come in and destroy everything and take the building for his own team. Man, I hate Caustics. Nerf Caustics. Her ultimate, which is also situational, can be very good if placed correctly and in the correct time frame. Her ultimate is a generator that destroys throwables and protects the team from incoming airstrikes and bombardments. Her ultimate recently got a buff, which can now break Caustic barrels, which was needed, but if it is destroyed or the time runs out, you're basically sitting ducks. Watson is in C tier because she is such a situational character, and other characters can do her job, but only better. I apologize I just don't have any gameplay for Rampart, since I was recording on my PC and I do not have enough to buy all of the legends yet. The lowest character in B tier is Rampart, the new Season 6 character. I think the developers finally got it right. They released a character that wasn't too overpowered, but at the same time wasn't as weak as my aim. Her passive ability is called Modded Loader. When she uses LMGs like the Spitfire Devotion, she has a 15% bigger magazine size and a 25% faster reload speed, which was needed because the Spitfire and the L-Star were hurting for a buff. Her tactical is her amp shield. Like Watson, these are also pretty situational. The amp shield increases bullet damage shot through it by 20% and can block off hallways and stairways if placed correctly. This amp cover can be used as makeshift cover in a pinch as well. The drawback to this is it can be destroyed instantly while being placed, so again making her more situational. Her ultimate is a mounted LMG. This can output high damage and even more if it is placed behind an amp shield shooting through it. I'm not a big fan of this because you're a sitting duck while using the minigun. One of the biggest drawbacks as well is that her kit is very countered by grenades and caustics. If you're all set up having a good time, a caustic can throw a gas grenade in and destroy everything, including you and your team. Watson can counter this, but it has to be set up perfectly. Rampart is sitting comfortably in the middle tiers because of how good her abilities can be, but only in certain situations. The highest character in B tier at number 7 is Crypto. Crypto is a scout character that recently received some buffs in Season 6. Crypto can be very strong with good communication or very weak, without it making him another situational character. His passive ability should be part of his tactical, but it's not. It lets his teammates see what he is seeing through his drone, which should just be part of his tactical. But his tactical is his drone, which through his drone is Crypto's entire kit. His drone allows him to scan the enemies for his teammates, giving his team an upper hand in the fight. His drone received a couple of buffs in the newest season, allowing him to scan survey beacons and use respawn beacons instantly with only his drone. There's really no point in him even leaving the drone. His ultimate gives him the ability to EMP an area of his choosing. It will destroy all equipment such as Watson fences and caustic traps. Along with that, it also stuns the enemies and breaks their shields with 450 health. This can be extremely effective through good communication, but it isn't always the case. Crypto would be high on the list, but he, like Watson, is very situational. I like to see how he plays in the new season with his buffs and against Rampart's shields. The highest legend in B tier at number 7 is the true combat medic Lifeline. Lifeline had one of the biggest reworks in Season 5. Her ability to pass the teammates at any time is very useful in almost every situation. In the gunfight, it gives the Lifeline team an extreme advantage in the fight. Lifeline's passive ability gives her the combat revive. What this is it lets her passively revive a teammate while either fighting enemies or reviving someone else. It's very difficult to fight against because you get a free shield. My team and I usually try to target the Lifeline first, because if not, she'll use her fallen teammates as a free shield, which basically turns the battle around in her favor, because then she gets teammates up and she has a free shield to fight behind. Her tactical gives the ability to drop a drone that can heal anyone around it for a small period of time. It's a great tactical that helps your team out with heals, because it's just free health it's basically unlimited. Dropping a care package with assorted heals, shields, helmets, weapon attachments is her ultimate. Ultimate is outclassed by others, but it can still be good even because it got a slight buff in Season 5. When you're looking for like a shield upgrade or some quick heals, this is a perfect thing. The drawback to this care package is it takes time and alerts everyone, even at far ranges, exactly where you're at. I mean, it has a giant beacon when it lands, so it's pretty hard not to spot. It was hard to put Lifeline this low because she's so good, but there are just so many characters that are all balanced, and I decided to put her at number 7. The lowest legend in A tier at number 6 is Revenant. This was a really hard choice because there are so many good legends that are all balanced, and with the recent small nerfs, I have to put him near the middle instead of higher up on the tier list. His passive ability is called Stalker, which gives him faster crouching speeds, along with the ability to climb higher than all the other legends. The ability to climb higher is extremely situational, and leaves you very vulnerable when trying to get away while climbing. Movement speed increase while crouching is decent as well, but it is much easier to hit his head while he is crouch chasing. His tactical grants him the ability to take away other legends' abilities for 20 seconds if he hits him with the silence device, along with taking away a small amount of health. An ability like this is very useful because the better characters have good abilities. If they are taken away, it helps your team win the battle.
Come on.
Revenant's ultimate is called Death Protection. It gives him and his teammates death protection with unlimited range but without any shields. When him and his teammates get killed, they are sent back to the totem with half the health they went into the totem with and all the shields they have remaining. This ability with communication is very powerful, and Revenant has shown up competitively in a lot of new teams, but without good communication, his death protection is very subpar and it goes to waste. I didn't choose Revenant to be in the top 5 because of his situational use and the fact that he needs a lot of communication. Also, he has one of the largest hitboxes in the game without having fortified. The second character in A tier at number 5 and a controversial pick is Pathfinder. Pathfinder's grapple cooldown was changed from 15 seconds to 35 seconds, and on top of that, this season they gave the ability to scan survey beacons to Bloodhound and Crypto as well. That just shows you how good he used to be and why he deserves this spot. His passive ability is the ability for him to scan survey beacons to show the next ring location. This was buffed by giving him a reduced cooldown to his zipline gun every time he uses it. The tactical is his grapple. Along with quite a few of the other legends, Pathfinder's grapple is what defines him. Although his grapple cooldowns was increased, it is still extremely powerful. The grapple allows him to grapple in and out of fights, get high ground almost instantly, and so much more, which is basically all you could ask for in a tactical ability. His ultimate is his zipline gun. Another ability that solidifies Pathfinder being top tier is the ability that allows him to shoot a zipline almost anywhere he wants that he and his teammates can use. It is great for getting high ground and getting away from teams. He is fun to use in pubs, and in competitive gameplay he is still viable because of his zipline gun and the ability for late game positioning. For these reasons, he deserves to be in the A tier of the legends. This is definitely going to piss some people off, so let me hear it in the comments. But at number 4, in the middle of A tier, I'm going to have to put Wraith here. Wraith is a very good character because of how her abilities pair with her small hitbox, which is the smallest in the game. Wraith's passive ability tells her when someone is aiming at her. This is useful in a very small amount of situations. If enemies are close enough and you are that unaware, then you are probably dead anyways. And if the enemies are a decent distance away, then they won't be able to down you, even if you didn't get told that someone is aiming at you by her passive. Also, she says enemy traps are here when you have already ran through like 5, so that doesn't work at all. The ability that kept her in basically the number 1 spot since release date was her tactical ability, also known as the get out of jail free card. This used to send you into the void, basically rendering you invincible, and hard to spot for a couple seconds, giving you a chance to relocate and heal. But because of the change to this causing the animation of going to the void to take forever, what feels like it's as long as Caustic traps last for, which is forever, it isn't as good as it used to be. Because if you're using it, you're probably low, and the time it takes for you to enter your phase, you are probably dead anyways. The ultimate being one of the strongest abilities in the game, probably what is keeping her in the top tier of legends, is her dimensional rift portal. She can move herself and her teammates to almost any spot without harm, unless of course there's a Caustic waiting on the other side, but it's almost always useful, especially in competitive settings. Wraith is lower than she usually is, because her face isn't as viable as it once was. I crunched the numbers on her hitbox, and with low profile added, and the time she wouldn't get hit compared to other legends that are small like Bangalore or Lifeline, it isn't enough to be a game changer in gunfights. Along with this, she's extremely loud. Like seriously, do you really have to carry on 100 chains to battle Wraith? She's louder than our big boys Caustic and Gibraltar, I feel like. Speaking of big boys, at the top of A tier, at the number 3 spot is Caustic. You've probably heard me ranting about Caustic in previous videos, about how powerful he is, but if you can't beat him, join him. As my friend always says. I made Caustic all throughout Season 5 because the only way to counter another Caustic is to play Caustic. His passive ability allows him to throw his gas and on his enemies in the gas, allowing him to easily take them out. His tactical, going hand in hand with his passive, gets him 3 gas canisters that recharge over time. He can throw these anywhere he chooses, and this can be very destructive to enemies that are camping. Along with this, that can be used as makeshift cover. Although Caustic is extremely thick, he can hide behind these, and if he can, then so can his teammates, except probably Gibraltar. His ultimate is crazy strong as well. When he throws the impact grenade down, it blankets a decently sized area and toxic gas similar to Bangalore smoke, but it does a very high amount of damage to the enemy's health. Paired with this and his passive, it is extremely deadly combo and nearly impossible to beat inside of an enclosed area with a few exits. Caustic being placed at number 3 despite the fact that he is so powerful is because he, along with many other characters, is a situational character. He is so good, but it isn't as strong in areas with small amounts of cover, and for this reason he is only in the number 3 spot. And number 2 in S tier, weighing in at 7,498,000 pounds, is the biggest boy of them all, Gibraltar. I can't tell you how many times I wanted to break my controller when I went up against one, and his stupid gun shield. His passive being his gun shield gives him an extra 50 health, which got an indirect buff this season with all the shield hit points being nerfed. I did some calculations with his gun shield and him being fortified. When he has purple shield, he has 252 hit points with his shield, compared to Pathfinder having low profile only having 166 hit points. Yeah, I don't care that he is fat, this is way too overpowered. That's an 86 hit point difference, which is about 2 wingman body shots. His tactical gives him a dome that he can throw down wherever he wants, and while inside the 12-second dome, he can revive fast, block all incoming damage, and all of his teammates heal 50% faster while inside the dome. On top of this, his ultimate is called the Defensive Bombardment. It should be called Aggressive Bombardment because if you're standing in it, you're gonna die. It does a very high amount of damage, and the only way you'd be able to counter this is if you either have a Washington generator or, you guessed it, another Gibraltar in his dome shield. Gibraltar deserves to be in the number 2 spot for so many reasons. His OP gun shield, the dome shield, basically all his abilities paired with him being fortified, he definitely deserves to be a top tier legend. If you're familiar with the worldwide number system, then you probably narrowed down to who the number 1 spot is. At the top of S tier, at number 1, I give Respawn's Entertainment's Pride and Joy, Bloodhound. The series of buffs that Bloodhound has received throughout the game's lifespan has finally made him the number 1 legend in the game at this point. Bloodhound's passive ability shows him footprints along with other clues that lead you right to the other team with ease. If you ever tried to run away from a Bloodhound, I wouldn't recommend it. Along with his tactical ability allowing him to scan in the area, giving him and his teammates a perfect outline of the enemies, makes it even harder to when he gets a Bloodhound team. Pair these 2 abilities with his ultimate, and you might as well leave the game so they can't get the kill credit. I don't know what the devs are thinking with this buff, but his ultimate is very broken. I'm going to read directly from the patch notes. His ultimate Beast of the Hunt duration was increased after a kill from 5 seconds to 15 seconds. His Scandal Beast of the Hunt now only has a cooldown of 6 seconds when in his ultimate, and now it comes out twice as fast. I don't know about you, but that is a little much. The only drawback he possesses is he is very loud in Beast of the Hunt, but that doesn't really matter when his whole team knows where you are with wall hacks until you're dead. Bloodhound is definitely the number 1 character in the game as of right now, without a doubt. Thank you guys again if you made it this far, and if you enjoyed it, even if you don't agree with it, make sure to subscribe and maybe turn on notifications so you don't miss any more videos. And let me know what you think in the comments, I'd really like to hear your guys' opinions.